Good morning again, Meridian, and welcome to our virtual speaker series event for October. We really wish we could have been in person, but due to a COVID exposure here at the Meridian Chamber, we had to enact our COVID policies. And the good news is everyone is well. Everyone here at the office has tested negative now, and we hope to be back to some normal operations very soon. But it's been a very busy month for us here at the Chamber. We brought on numerous new members. As a matter of fact, here's a list of all of our new members as of the end of September. I think it was 16 total new members that we added. Some of these are some brand new businesses here in Meridian. Others are ones that have just seen the need and the desire to join the Chamber family and become part of the group that supports the business community here in Meridian. We also have some ribbon cutting events coming up. We did have to postpone this one from last week, but the new AFC, American Family Care Urgent Care, will be holding their ribbon cutting event on October 8th at 12 o'clock noon. This is the new urgent care clinic on the corner of Eagle and Ustick. We hope you're going to be able to come out and join us for this ribbon cutting event. Then we also have a really special ribbon cutting event coming up on October 14th. This is the ribbon cutting event for BBSI here in Meridian. It's located in the village. Their office is located directly above Kona Grill. They're going to have a great kind of grand opening ribbon cutting event for everyone to come check out their facility, hear more about their products and services, and how they can help the businesses in our community. We also have scheduled our Meridian City Council Candidate Forum, scheduled for October 19th at 11 a.m. This will be virtual, just as we did our primary candidate forums and general election forums last year. It really gives us an opportunity to get most of the candidates to participate and be able to share their platforms, their reason for running for city council, and be able to ask them questions as it pertains to the Meridian business community. We also have scheduled for October an after-hours event with the Yard House. This is located in the village. It will be October 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. Due to COVID restrictions, we are limited on the number of people that we can have at this event. So we are asking you that you register. It is a free event for members and guests to attend, but we are asking you to register just so we get an idea of how many people we can expect. And it will be held outdoor patio type of atmosphere. So you may want to bring a jacket, but we're going to have a really good after hours event. And then our November speaker series, November 2nd, we'll be introducing you to the new West Ada School District Superintendent, Dr. Derek Bubb. He'll be giving us our program on November 2nd. Like I said, been a pretty busy month. We've got a lot of good things coming up. But today, we're very pleased to have Peppershock Media as our sponsor and program for our speaker series in October. And allow me to introduce to you today Jordan O'Keefe. Jordan, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Sean. How are you?
Excellent. Jordan was born and raised in San Diego, California. Jordan's always been fascinated with marketing and entrepreneurship. He eventually made his way to Idaho to pursue a degree in business marketing at BSU. Since graduating, Jordan now works as a project coordinator and marketing supervisor for Peppershock Media, where he aims to bring fun, fame, and or fortune to the company. Jordan, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Sean. I really appreciate it. And so now, before I have the pleasure of introducing today's speaker, Ray Allen, I wanted to take a brief moment just to talk a little bit about Peppershock Media. Peppershock Media is a full-service digital branding and creative agency offering thoughtful design, precise content creation, stellar video production, and results-driven direction. Our production department offers everything from in-house video production, graphic design, still photography, And our creative team offers everything from TV and radio commercials, documentaries, website design, logos, posters, and more. Of course, the entire Peppershock team makes sure to have fun while creating effective work for our clients. Every day, we help businesses blast off into the stratosphere, celebrating their successes each step of the way. With us, you guys can have your cake and eat it too. Don't worry, sharing is optional. So if you're looking to build your brand and bottom line, be sure to visit peppershock.com for more info. Now, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing today's speaker, Rhea Allen. Rhea Allen is the CEO and co-founder of Peppershock Media, established in 2003. Rhea is known for her storytelling passion and extreme diligence in obtaining effective media campaign results by planning and crafting relevant and compelling messaging. She is also an in-demand integrative marketing consultant, national presenter, and adjunct professor at Boise State University, and the host of the popular podcast that ranks number 10 in the top 10% globally. Rhea emphasizes team building and creating a culture that empowers her team to produce superb work for their clients, time in, time again. Peppershock is located and headquartered out here in Nampa, Idaho, but works with Fortune None to Fortune 100 companies across the globe, building brands and bottom lines. Rhea and her husband, Drew Allen, the co-founder of Peppershock, have 2 boys, Emerson and Caden, that loves the time in the great outdoors, serving the community and everything that life has to offer. Please give a warm welcome to Rhea Allen.
Oh, wow, that's a lot. Thanks, Jordan. Thank you, Sean. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you today. And yes, we get to go online, but then what that really means is that more people get to see what we have to say. So it's a silver lining to having to pivot from an in-person to a pandemic-friendly, let's call it, online virtual event. So today, I'm going to share with you how to help you build your brand and your bottom line, whether you are an individual, a solopreneur, somebody just getting off and getting started in the world of business, all the way up to corporate branding and how you can align your brand with your corporate brand, or if you're an entrepreneur, what that means. So helping you build your brand and, of course, then your bottom line. Even if you're a nonprofit, you still have a bottom line to look into and make sure that is in check. So this really will apply to a variety of different walks of life, and I will do my best to make it to where it will apply to you as well. And you'll hopefully gain something from this process that we go through in helping you build your brand and the things that you can consider. And maybe it's a refresher. Maybe you've already spent some time on how you want your brand experience to be in your business, in your career, your professional life, those types of things. So let's just go ahead and get started. Go ahead and share the next slide. Thank you. All right. So first of all, we need to explain so that we're all kind of on the level playing field. What is branding? And in this case, I'm going to say personal branding, but it also can really go into corporate or, company branding as well, right? Branding is universal, right? There are so many different things about branding that's universal in a lot of different ways, but it is, let's say, your company has a personality or you have a personality. It's your reputation. It's the ethics that you keep, the skills that you have, the logo that you may have as yourself or for your company or your brand. And it emulates what it is that you want to represent. It can be word of mouth. I say world of mouth, but word of mouth and what people say about you when you're not there, right? And that can go global. So I like to say world of mouth, not just word of mouth. The experience that you give when people come through your doors or when they talk to you or virtually online, right? It's the personality that you showcase and share and your, who you are as a person and how your company personality is as well. The traits and characteristics and the values that you keep. So all of those things are really what kind of emulates branding in a whole and what we can talk about moving forward. So go ahead and share the next screen. Okay, so in here, there are some resources that you can use as homework, and we'll put some links in there that you can do. Now, some of these are free. Some of these are ways that you can understand who you are as a person. And then in a corporate setting, understand who the people that you're working with and how you can work with them better. There's so many different personality traits and tests and things that you can do. Now, I like to do them because I want to understand new people who come and work for us. I want to understand, what kinds of personalities that I am about to work with, right? I want to know if they're visionary or if they're introverted or extroverted. I want to know how they communicate best, if they, like the written word, or they are verbal communicators, or maybe not at all, right? I want to understand who it is that we're surrounding ourselves with. But more importantly, I also want to understand me too, and how I emulate, and how I, can have other people understand who I am as well. So same for you. You can take these different tests and understand your tendencies and your, if you're introverted, extroverted, if you're judgmental or perceptive, or if you're, any of those different types of things that you can do. So this will be homework for you for later. So hopefully you can copy those for later and look at those that you can do. Now, the Strength Finders does charge for you to do that, but I do recommend at least sometime in your lifetime, understand what your strengths are. For example, go ahead and go to the next slide for me, and I'll show you some examples of things that we've done to help understand in our workplace. I know this is a little hard to read, but each of our people have different strengths, different tests that they've taken, and we have different tabs for each of those. So when we get somebody new, we can plug them in and we can understand how they work as a person and what that means and that experience working together as a team. And why does this relate to helping you brand? Because branding really starts from the inside out. It's the culture, it's the experience that people get when they walk through your doors with your employees or your staff or your vendors or about how you can work together as a team. And in this example, the different areas of strengths that we each have. So for example, my number one strength is command. I would say command, not demand, but then I have a number two strength as woo. And then I think it's includer and ideation and those types of things. And if you can see how your team all stacks up together, you can see areas that each of them will shine. So for example, Brian, the one that's got the blue, he's all pretty much brain. Strategic thinking is what he does, right? And so when we want some strategic thinking and we want to have some input and some intellection, we can rely on him to have that. We also have other people who are in other areas. So we've got, mouth, like influencing. That's one of my big strengths for me, right? And I don't necessarily, have, I guess I don't have a whole lot of heart, but then I have other people who have way more heart. And so I lean on them and have them to be able to do that for me. So that's how you can help build your team, how you can work together and understand how your culture is impacted and how then your brand is going to be shared and experienced in the world. Okay, so let's just go ahead and keep going. And we're going to share a little bit more about some brands that people have built in either their namesake or their company. And these are just, people that have built who they are, what they do, having examples of, obviously know who Oprah is and what her brand stands for and who she is and how she emulates her personality and all of the things that come with who she is, right? Gary Vee, on the other hand, he's definitely not like Oprah. There's lots of things, maybe there's some things that he does that are similar, but he is certainly different personality traits, how he expresses himself, how he communicates with himself, to his audience and those types of things. So if you don't know who Gary Vee is, he's definitely somebody who's got a mouth on him but he always has interesting things to say, right? And people follow him and follow what he has to say and understand him that way. Bill Nye the Science Guy, right? Some of us grew up with him and his personal brand and his company brand and what he does with the company. Just thinking about the different things that they are. And Neil Patel, right? Neil Patel is a best-selling author. He's a Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal has called him a top influencer on the web. Forbes said he's one of the top 10 marketers, and Entrepreneur magazine says he's created one of the 100 most brilliant companies, right? He's recognized as a top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 30 by President Obama, and I mean, on and on and on, right? He's definitely established a name for himself as well. Those are just a couple of examples of some brands that people have made. But let's talk about what it takes to build a brand and understanding what this means. So brands are like a blueprint. So basically, when we think about, for example, if we're going to build a building, first we need an architect to draw out the blueprint, and we need in the space, and then the foundation, and then the different selections of what you're going to have within that space, and then all of the things that you need to understand in order to help you build that brand, right? Just like like that building blueprint. So when you want to build a brand, you need a blueprint, a plan of what it is that you're going to do and how you're going to go about doing it. So go ahead and go to the next slide. And we'll kind of share a little bit more about how they're connected and the things that you need, the tools that you need to help you build that brand from the foundation up. Go ahead, next slide. So basically, one of the things that I like to share in how your brand is operational. So when you build the construction of that new building with the help of that architect, you work together to discover the needs, the requirements, how they're all going to come together in building that foundation for your business. So when we look at that, we want to talk about the brand essence, right? The heart and soul of that brand. It's the brand's fundamental nature or quality. Usually it's stated in 2 to 3 sentences. A brand essence is really kind of the consistent message across all of the different things that you do. If it's for your company, all the different products you have, all the different departments that you have, all the different divisions that you have, all the people that you have, it's really the essence of what it is that you stand for, what you represent. The brand voice is the personality of your writing, the tonality and the moods and the attitudes conveyed by your brand voice. Tones can vary, but the voice can remain consistent across those different areas that you're going to have, where places and opportunities to be able to showcase and share your brand, right? And so then thinking about the values, right? And having a strong relationship between the values that you are as a person and the values that the company that you work for, or that is your company, and how they intermingle and align together. But what is it that you believe? What do you stand for? And not necessarily religious belief, but what do you believe that is true about the brand and who you are and who you represent as that person that you are, or the company that you are representing, right? Beliefs and the personality of the brand are the elements that really define the look, the feel, the tone, everything that is about you and who you are. Now I'm going to have a little exercise. Go ahead and on the next slide, and let's try to make this one full screen so people can see it better. You might have to scroll out just a little bit if you are looking at this and you are able to do that. The exercise I want you to take on right now is, and the nice thing is, if you're rewatching this later, you can always just fast forward and get to where we are next. But I want you to take a moment, and these are just a few words that we put together of things that you want to own, words that you want to own, and as a person, who you are, right? Words you want to own. So I want you to pick out 2 or 3 words here. And if you've got, if you care to share and you're watching online and you want to comment on some of the words that strike you as you and who you are, go ahead and share them in the comments. Who are you? What words do you own? What essence is it that emulates you or your company brand? What is it that your company represents? For us is, and I highlighted ours, is, disrupt, connect, and inspire. So some of the words that we kind of, springboard from is creative, disruptive, innovative, and inspiring. So for you, and obviously if there's some words up here that don't pertain to you, you know how to do a process of elimination. And maybe there's some words that are missing that might be what your words are. But I would be curious to see and hear and go back and look at the comments about what the words are that you want to emulate in your essence of who you are. So I'm going to give you just a second while I take a sip of my coffee, take a look at this list, and then share with me what your words are. So for Meridian Chamber, I'm going to challenge you as well. What are the words of the Meridian Chamber that you want to own? And you don't have to stick to them, but I'm curious, what are the words that you would say that the Meridian Chamber emulates, the brand that stands for Meridian Chamber? Go ahead. Okay, excellent.
I'm getting closer to the screen so I can see the
words.
Let's see here. No, we won't use sexy.
That's probably a good idea.
No, I definitely think, energetic is one that we're looking at. Agile. We learned that last year, that we have to be agile.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
Efficient. And I'm thinking of this as our operation as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe cooperative and collaborative. Yep.
Collaborative, definitely.
Yep. Oh, look. So Idaho State University College of Pharmacy says idealistic. Very good. City of Meridian, trustworthy, analytical. I love that. I would hope that my city would be trustworthy and analytical. That's great. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I think for us, one reason why we chose disruptive is because, we're trying to disrupt people's thought patterns, their mindset, or, in advertising, we're trying to disrupt them to get through to them, to give them a message about our brand. Right. But also to be disruptive is to go against the norms of what you would normally do in a certain situation. Right. So those are some other ways to do it. I love it. Adventurous, conservative, humble, laid back, scientific, patient, sincere, and trustworthy. That's Carl. Thank you for sharing. I love that. Stephanie says knowledgeable and meticulous. Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah. So, I want you to kind of really think about this, and this will be some homework for you to do, and screen capture this, and then you can, maybe elaborate or find other words that make sense to you if they're not on here. Obviously, there's so many different adjectives and things that we could do to describe our traits and who we want to emulate and words we want to own, right? But let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and I have a little more exercise for you, some homework for you to do in building your brand, right? And thinking about how you're going to set the stage, set the foundation that you want. What is your blueprint, your plan, how you're going to go about doing it? So we started the first step, listing all your attributes, and there's going to be more, I'm sure of it. You're going to have to whittle it down, and you can even rely on others to ask others, like, what do you think my attributes are of me or of my company? What are the attributes of Peppershock, for example, or what are the attributes of specific traits about what I have, for example, right? And you can do that for yourself, and then come up with that list. And it's very good to do. I know sometimes we feel humble or we feel weird about asking about what our best attributes are, but trust me on this. It's going to help you continue to build that foundation, build that blueprint of what you want in the strategy that you're going to put together. So thinking through those attributes and then dialing those down and narrowing those down. Then you're going to choose your audience. Who is it that you want to have surrounding you most? What clients do you want to attract? Who is it that you want to walk through your doors or watch your screen in this case, right? Are they, what kind of attributes do they have? What kind of, things that you can do to kind of step into their shoes and empathize with them for a minute? Are they people that you want to associate with often? And why is it that you want to associate with them? What kind of things can you do with them that are going to be, advantageous to you, right? And be honest, right? Is it when you're putting together your brand essence statement, be honest with yourself and make it memorable. And the reason for that is because then when other people hear what it is that you want to represent as your brand, make it memorable, make it something that people can easily say to other people about you. We talked about word of mouth, right? When they talk about you, what is it that you want them to say? What is it that you want them to experience from having interacted with you and your company, that they're going to then share with other people? And remember, good, bad, or indifferent, sometimes people will share things about you that you may not want them to share about you. So keep that in mind, right? What is that you're going to do to help accelerate positive word of mouth advertising, positive, words of affirmation to other people about you, right? Testimonials that are going to share the right things that you want. So making it memorable, make your self-impression equal others' impression. We talked about, having other people help you answer those questions about you. What are your attributes? Share with others that you trust and that you want to understand what it is that you're wanting to accomplish with helping you build your brand for your company, for your nonprofit, for whatever it is that you're wanting to build a brand for. And then number 6, market yourself. what are the ways in this foundation that we're building that we're going to put together? How are you going to get the message out about who you are and what you do and the experience that you want to emulate, right? And number 7, be flexible. As we have all learned from this last year, we have had to be very, very extremely flexible, right? Pivoting is the kind of the key word of the century. Pivoting, and your mics, and you're muted, or, all of those things that we've kind of experienced over the last couple of, it seems like forever, a decade, but really it's been, 2 years. So think about, being flexible and how important that is, and go easy on yourself, right? I mean, we all do things that maybe think about how is that going to emulate what I want, and sometimes if you're missing a step, or messed up a little bit, that's okay. Get back on track, and be kind to yourself, and understand every brand goes through experiences, good, bad, and indifferent. So you need to continue to build upon the good and build up, and just be easy on yourself and be flexible as we go through that. And, this last year, if anything has proven, the test of time in brands that have had, lots of trials and tribulations to go through, think about the restaurant industry, and, how they had to pivot and, do curbside delivery, and figure out how to, take online payments and catering and all the things that they've been doing and going through, right? There's opportunity for their brand to get tarnished because maybe they didn't serve food on time, or maybe when it got delivered, it was cold, or whatever. But I think being kind and gracious, and being flexible, and knowing that everyone is working on their brand as best as they can, and as much as they can, and how you can rise to the occasion, and helping yourself and other companies around you, because what goes around comes around, right? If you can help other companies and do, like we said, give those testimonials to others, give, words of affirmation, and share about others, then it'll reciprocate. And it's kind of the go-giver mentality. Well, it'll come back to you, where you can do that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Okay, so next slide, go ahead. Some of the things that we can do about helping you market yourself, or your company, or your brand. We know that, some of the things that are out there, obviously, the main thing right now in able to help you, continue to push your brand, and be able to get it out there, is social media, right? And so go ahead with social, or go ahead and do, go back. I'm also running the slides on my own. Anyway, so yeah, so some of the things, statistically, we know that, I mean, it's pretty common now, but these are some updated stats, of not too long ago. But the total population around the world, right? It's almost 8 billion people. Well, that's kind of an elaboration there, but we know that over 5 billion people are using mobile devices, right? And then internet users, right? Over 60% of the population, right, is using internet. And of course, then of those people, 4.48 billion people are on social media, right? So why shouldn't we be on social media, to help us build our brands and promote our companies, and promote our company brands, or our public figure brands, or whatever the case might be? Go ahead, next slide. And then, of course, big one to help in pushing your brand, and being able to showcase who you are, LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is one of the fastest growing platforms, really. I guess maybe next to TikTok and some of those others. But I guess in a professional sense, right, 87% of recruiters use LinkedIn. And companies who are looking to recruit will use this as a tool, whether you're looking to hire, or you are looking to get hired, or whatever the case might be. It's significant where people can use LinkedIn to help you in developing. So thinking about how your strategy, your foundation that you're going to use on LinkedIn, how you're going to build that building, just as you're building your brand, either from a company profile perspective, or a personal profile perspective. I mean, we know that if you're running a company, oftentimes people will do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And so your company profile, just as much as your personal profile, is just as important, if not even more, because people are going to connect with people one-on-one even more so than they will connect with a product or service brand, right? Because they want to see the people behind that brand. And so thinking about the people that you're working with in that regard, how can your personal brand be in alignment with the company that you're working with? And if it's not in alignment, then we need to discuss what it needs to be to get in alignment, right? Are those values in alignment? Are the things that you're representing, are they in alignment, right? And so on LinkedIn, thinking about, what you can use, how you can use LinkedIn. There's so many users there, active users, 13 years and older. Right now we have, they open it up to where 13-year-olds can start a LinkedIn profile. So the next generation already knows that they need to be on these spaces and places. And 96% of business-to-business content marketers use LinkedIn for organic social marketing. And it is something that is completely, especially from the pandemic, we've done ongoing monthly marketing meetups where we have people from LinkedIn from all over the globe, really. Every third Friday, we do a marketing meetup, and we have people from all over that have connected with us. And, we do a virtual meetup online, and people from, Missouri to Wisconsin to Boston to, LA to everywhere have been on and connected. And it's just a neat place to be able to do that. And we've utilized LinkedIn to connect with people and say, hey, we do this online virtual meetup. Would love to have you join us. And we process marketing ideas, and you introduce yourself, those types of things. And of course, anybody listening to this is always welcome to come and join us as well and meet other people from around the country, around the world, really. I think the link is peppershock.com/events, if I can remember correctly, but we'll get that out and post it too. But yeah, anyway, so lots of different ideas there to help you. And one of the things that we've done on our virtual meetups, the Marketing Expedition virtual meetups, is actually have people practice their 30-second elevator pitches, and share with others kind of the words that they own and how they own them and what they say and how they say it. And it's a great place to do that because it's like no harm, no foul. If I mess up, that's okay. It's a safe space to do that. But meanwhile, we then now learn a little bit about you and what you do and how you operate and what it is that is important to you and the brand that you represent. So anyway, lots of opportunity for that to go around. Next up is, go ahead, next slide for me. Thank you. Just talking a little bit more about LinkedIn. There's so many ways on LinkedIn to kind of stand out to the recruiters, to potential clients, to potential employees that want to work for your company. Really kind of having the copy that's on your LinkedIn, thinking about how it is that you can turn that summary into a story that people will read. And, having that summary will allow you to share your story with those that will interact with your profile. This is kind of, it's your personal space. It's really who you are that you want to represent and emulate in your brand. And also for the company brand too. Similarly, you want to showcase who your company is and what it is what it would be like to do business with you or your company. Some other things that you can do to kind of help elevate your profiles is taking some skill assessments on LinkedIn, so that you can say that you're certified in different skills, that they have those skill assessments that you can do. It may kind of seem like a tedious, but it's one that has a lot of benefits. Studies show that, candidates that have verified skills are 30% more likely to be hired than those that don't. Or, if I have a prospective client that wants to check us out, if they see that they've got, that we've got certified people or, experts in our, arsenal of people who work with us at Peppershock, for example, then, they might be more likely to hire us than somebody else who doesn't have something like that. So having things that are verified, like, Google AdWords certified, Facebook AdWords, Facebook ads certified, and Drew, he's drone pilot certified and, commercial drone pilot certified, he's got a license for that. But showcasing all those things, like, it's important. People want to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And if you give them ways to trust you, then those are going to help highlight you over somebody else in competition or whatever the case might be. And then, of course, using your headline, it can say more than just your job title. You can use that space to help you elaborate a role or why you do what you do or what you're passionate about. But there's some tips that you can use in here to do that, that can help you build that profile for you. I wish I had more time in this, we could continue to talk about LinkedIn forever, but we'll keep going here so that we can, get through today and maybe even give you some of your time back so you can go spend some time on your brand and go spend some time on your LinkedIn profile and your Instagram profile or Facebook profile. But something else to note, Facebook for Business, the Facebook Business Suite, it's an app that allows businesses to manage all of your accounts across Facebook and Instagram. And of course, WhatsApp and all the other things that Facebook has now too. But small businesses can now manage their Instagram and Facebook just from one platform, which is really kind of nice. We use a tool that the agency world can use to manage. But if you don't have access to something like that, then you can use this Facebook Business Suite and you can look at the messages that people send you. You can look at all the different things. I think I was actually counting out how many different places I need to go check messages, whether it's email or Facebook direct message or LinkedIn direct message or Discord direct message or Instagram. I mean, there's a handful of places that you need to go. So this is kind of a nice little thing that you can do to at least get a couple of those narrowed down and dialed in. But if you are ever interested, little shameless plug here, we do have a tool that agencies basically buy into. We call it Pepperpost, and it can have all of your social medias all in one dashboard and all of your messages in one dashboard. It's quite lovely, and it's pretty relatively inexpensive because we can share it across all of our clients and have one place for everyone to go through, and we can teach you how to use it, and then you can do it on your own, or you can have us help you with it. But again, building those brands and your bottom lines, if you need help to do that, sometimes it's best to rely on those that can do it for you sometimes. Done with you, done for you, or do it yourself, right? Those are the three things that you can do. DIYers, the done with you, or done for you. Anyway, okay, go ahead and go to the next slide. Another thing that's taking off is Facebook groups. Really, more than ever now, we're seeing a lot more Facebook groups. And so if you are a brand that you want to have a group and have people join your group, the nice thing about it is because it has a description of the groups, you're starting to then attract people who want to be a part of your group, who want to be, brand advocates or loyalists, right? And, really this whole year has been really a lot of Facebook groups, have done. And the nice thing is Facebook has really kind of started to give priority to group news feeds. And then users are joining and engaging them in record numbers now. It's kind of like a lot of the new updates that are happening are all centered around groups. And then now you can actually run ads in your group feed. And so you can actually make sure that your group sees it even more than before. And you can also now advertise in other groups as well. So if it's an alignment and you guys want to cross promote and have a partnership with each other, a paid partnership with each other, you can do that. And it's kind of nice to be able to have that collaboration. That's a word we used earlier to describe Meridian Chamber, right? But yeah, brand and content tags can now be extended in public groups, allowing admins of both groups to create sponsored posts in partnerships on behalf of the advertisers. So now you can also monetize your groups, right? But making sure that they're in alignment with the brands that you want in your groups and represent. Speaking of groups, you can join the Marketing Expedition members group for free. It's a private group, but search Marketing Expedition members. It's powered by Peppershock, and it's part of our community, the Marketing Expedition community powered by Peppershock. But yeah, private Facebook groups are a great place to then attract the people who want to be a part of your group. And so that the audience that you have in there is already sort of pre-qualified, right? And you can set up to where they have to answer questions before they get to join the group. So it's a privilege that they get to join it. And it's great from a marketing perspective and a branding perspective, because now the audience that sees what's in there, that they're interested to be there, because they could just leave the group if they don't want to, right? And it's kind of an organic, fun way to grow it. We've grown our Facebook group. I think there's probably just under, I don't know, maybe over 800 group. I haven't been in it today to see how many we have, but all of those people want to be there. And it's great because now I know that the type of material and the the branded material that I want to give to these people, I know that they'll accept it and receive it. And it's not like I'm trying to solicit or, sell anything. It's because I want to give value to them, right? So that's where groups really come in handy, is because you're providing value. And people then, again, want to know, like, and trust and work with you. So those are some ideas for you. And as you lay the foundation in your strategy, think about Facebook groups, how you can either engage in other groups that have already started and then showcase a little bit more about you, or how you can then start your own group, right? And get people to be a part of it and invite people to join your group. Lots of benefits there. So, and thank you for sharing all the links, my dear. Okay, so continuing on, go ahead and share this slide again. As we build this foundation, as we build this blueprint, we want to make sure that the strategies that we put in place all have smarter goals, smarter marketing goals, right? We want to make sure that what we're doing is smarter than not doing anything at all, right? And so what does smarter stand for? They are specific, so very specific goals that you want to accomplish. They're measurable, right? I always say measure what you treasure, dump what you don't, automate what you hate, and enjoy the adventure, right? Enjoy the journey. Measure what you treasure, dump what you don't, automate what you hate, and enjoy the journey. All right, specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, whichever way you want to put that. Making sure that it's something that you can actually achieve, right? I know that sometimes people do stretch goals, and that's fine. Those are great and wonderful to have. But if you are going to be unrealistic about your goal, chances are you're not going to achieve it, right? So you want to make sure that it's achievable. Relevant, right? Is what you're trying to accomplish, is it relevant? Is it going to resonate with the people that you want in front of your audience? Remember thinking about your audience and the people that you want to be around and have around you, and that you want to attract through your door or on your screen, right? I used to say butts and seats. How many people do you want to have butts and seats if it's a ticketed event, or if it's a things like that? Now it's like, how many people can you get to register to an online event, right? It's different now in that regard. But is it relevant to the people that you are wanting to attract to have surround you and be around you, that you want to do business with, that you want to do business with you? Those types of things. Timed. Make sure you give yourself a time frame for each of these strategies and tactics that you want to take, and look at what time frame that is. By X time frame. So maybe in 3 months from now, I want to grow my social media engagement on my Facebook group by 20%. And of course, you need to have a benchmark of where you're at right now, so that you know that in 3 months from now, or whatever time frame you put, that you have actually achieved that goal. And maybe you need to continue to track it so you know what's achievable. Maybe in the last 3 months, you only were able to increase engagement by 10%, but now you want to double it in 3 months, right? Is that realistic? I don't know. You tell me. Look at the trends, look and see what you've tracked over time. I call them kept promise indicators, or KPIs, let's see, what's it really called? Key performance indicators, right? But kept promise indicators, or key performance indicators, for those of you who, need the analytics and not necessarily the mushy feeling of promises, but kept promise indicators, and how long you're going to do that. And is it ethical? Ethics in advertising, ethics in what you're doing, ethics in what you believe in, messages that you're sending out there, where you're getting those messages from, how you're, utilizing what you're doing. Are you copying and stealing everything? Case, right? Copy and steal everything. Or are you giving credit where credit is due? What is it that you're doing in your strategies and your plans? And is it ethical? It's really important to consider and keep that in mind, because sometimes even the slightest things that we're doing, like, are we doing copyright infringement? Are we, not giving credit where credit is due? Are we saying false claims? Are we doing things that could, be misconstrued, or, turn into libel, or, whatever, right? Just think about the ethical, smarter goals that you can make here. And then, of course, recorded. In our office, we have a big giant cork board, and we have index cards, and we write out our smarter goals, and we pin them up there so that they are seen. And so when we say recorded, they're seen, right? We want to see them. If you write it down and you track it, measure it, and you look at those things on a regular basis, then you're more likely to achieve those goals, right? And then we talk about what goals we've met or set, what accomplishments we've made, and we talk about those things in our employee coaching sessions together, because it's important to set goals and smarter goals, and then achieve those goals when you can. But aim high, but be realistic in your goals when you're doing it. Because sometimes they have to be modified, and that's okay. Remember, we talked about being flexible as you build your brand, right? Sometimes you have to pivot and change goals. When the pandemic happened, we certainly had to change our revenue goal overall, and that happened, and to a lot of people, and so thinking about what you need to do in order to make those as flexible but as achievable as you can. Okay, we'll go ahead and go into the next slide. So now that you are creating your blueprint, you're figuring out your strategies, you're thinking about the tactics that you're going to take. Think about how you're going to now get this out in the world with your brand. And obviously, I could do a 2-day workshop on all of the things that you could possibly do, but I'm going to, keep this as time, let's see, short as possible. How about that? But thinking about your marketing strategy and how you're going to, effectively get the ideas out there that you have, and turn them into actions, and what it is that you're going to do. Let's think about kind of the basic 4 P's of marketing, product, place, price, position, all of those things. I like to actually say the 4 C's of marketing. And the things that you're thinking about in those terms, right? Think about customer solutions, not necessarily the products, but everybody needs things solved. Everyone has issues or things that they need to have solved, right? So think about the customer solutions, or and when you're building a brand, who is it and what is it that you can do to help others, right? What are some things that you can help attribute or solve, right? Whether it is that you're trying to solve, world peace, or if you're trying to solve a marketing, dilemma, if you're trying to, solve for being able to send a student to school. It doesn't, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, think about what are the solutions? What are the conveniences, right? And what kinds of things that are value? So cost, customer cost, not necessarily price, but people want to know the total value, right? They want to know the cost of acquiring and using, and how it's going to help them, how it's going to benefit them, right? So that's the other one. And then convenience, not necessarily place, but convenience. Customers want convenience, right? Your clients that you're working with, the people that you're going to serve, your boss, right? It's convenience, especially now. People are like wanting instant gratification. So how can you make it convenient? Whether it's convenient to purchase, whether it's convenient to donate to a cause, whether it's convenient to pay you online these days, right? What kind of convenient things can you do for your audience that you're wanting to attract? And trust me, when you think about how you can make things convenient for the other person that's involved in what you're trying to do, or the other business that you're trying to do, that's going to go a long way, because right now people need as much convenience as they can because they've got so much going on, right? Communication, not just promotion, but communication, right? Customers want 2-way communication, and being able to give feedback just as much as receive feedback. And really, that's what social media has absolutely done for brands now, is having that 2-way communication. I mean, in traditional methods of advertising and marketing back in the day, I mean, Peppershock's been around since before Facebook was even invented, just FYI, right? And so traditional methods, right? On a radio ad or a billboard or a magazine or a newsprint, it was a 1-way communication street, right? You were putting your messaging out there in hopes that somebody might retain it and do something about it. And there maybe is a call to action. But now with social media, it's a 2-way communication street, and you can get feedback easier than you could ever before. And instant feedback, right? People, are willing to give you that feedback, especially if they're not happy. They're going to give you feedback, maybe even more than those who are happy, right? So you have to keep that in mind. And what is it that they're not happy about, and what can you do to fix it? What kind of problems can you solve for them? What conveniences can you make for them? All of those types of things. And, thinking about that communication. But maybe some of your goals, thinking about overall, what kind of goals do you want to set? Smarter goals. Maybe it's to, maybe it's to increase sales. Maybe it's to bring in new customers, maybe to retain customers, especially nowadays. Maybe it is to get existing customers to buy more. Maybe it's to introduce a new product or service, or something that you're passionate about. Maybe it's a new cause that you want people to get behind. Maybe it's to increase market share and beat out the competition. Maybe it's to gain that market share and find ways to grow all of your customer base and people who come to you. Maybe it's to continue to better establish your brand and build awareness and get people to think about who it is that you are, right? We talk about net promoter score. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend this business to somebody else? And if they, say a 10, great, that's awesome. And if they say a 1, oh my gosh, there's a problem, right? Understanding that, right? Measure what you treasure. Again, it's kind of hard to measure sometimes. Branding is really hard to measure, but there are ways to do it, like the sentiments, the online reputation. What do people say about you? Words, or are they happy words, right? So on a scale of harsh to happy, where do you land in that? And how can you measure that, right? And using tools like Net Promoter Score, or the sentiment scoring, as we call it, or Likert scaling, right? And how can you benchmark where you are now and what people think about you and the sentiments that they have about you? Maybe doing word clouds about how they describe you. And then, a year from now or 6 months from now, what do they describe you then? And how have you impacted their thought process or their mind share about you? And how can you continue to build and establish that more name dropping, namesaking, getting that name leverage into their brains so that they can think of you first when somebody wants something that it is that you do, that you become the recommendation, right? Maybe it's something that you want to do to improve your customer loyalty. Maybe it's to create a rewards program. Whatever your marketing goals are, those are some things to consider while you're putting your goals together, right? The 4 C's of marketing: customer solutions, customer cost, convenience, and communication. Okay, next slide. Now, remember, as you build this, as you continue to build your brand, remember what happens in Vegas stays on Facebook or Twitter or any of those other places, right? Their tagline used to be, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah, not anymore. And thinking about all of the different things that you do as you build your brand and as you put your strategy out there, whatever you do, remember, is going to stay out there for the world to see. Speaking of that, another thing you can do later is Google yourself. We'll talk about that in a minute, but don't do it now. We'll do it in a minute, and we'll see what comes up. But let's go ahead and go to the next slide. This is my favorite thing to share with people that they can do at no charge, right? These are things that organically can help, and it won't cost you a single penny. Now, if you choose to put money towards it, you can. But think about if you are asking for in helping you build your brand, and you want people to give you ratings or rankings, reviews, Google reviews, Facebook reviews, 5-star reviews on Yelp, recommendations, getting recommendations on LinkedIn, asking other people for recommendations, giving recommendations, and then, reciprocating that, because then people will give you recommendations. And then, of course, referrals. It doesn't cost you a dime to ask for a referral, right? You can ask people for referrals like this. Go like this. This is what I'm going to do right now. If you know of somebody who could utilize our services, I would love for you to give us a referral. We're powered by referrals. If that's something that you think you could do for us, I would be so appreciative, right? It doesn't cost me anything to do that aside from my time to tell you that I would love referrals, right? And then, of course, rewards. So we've got ratings and rankings, reviews, recommendations, referrals, and then rewards, right? We want to reward those who give you those things, right? Who say nice things, who give you a Google review and give you those Facebook reviews, or any of those things, recommendations, right? Maybe it'll cost you a stamp and a thank you note, and maybe a gift card to a coffee to say thank you for that referral, or thank you for, giving me those reviews, whatever, right? I mean, you still don't have to spend any money. So this is the 5 R's to organic growth that will reciprocate, right? Raise 5 R's to reciprocate. So if you do any of those things for us, then we can do those for you, that kind of thing, right? So thinking about, while you're putting your strategy together and you're building the base and the foundation of your brand, what can you do? What's one smarter goal that you can make right now based on one or all 5 of these that can get you some organic growth in helping you build your brand and your bottom line as a result? Okay, so let's keep going here. Just a couple of statistics to think about as you are going through this process and helping kind of create your brand essence, create the foundation, create all the things that you're wanting to accomplish. Now, if you're an employer, this is helpful for you to know versus if you are also an employee or somebody who's looking for a job. So 75% of HR departments are required to search job applicants online. So remember what we said, what happens in Vegas stays on Facebook and Twitter and not in Vegas anymore, right? Think about what you've got and what is on your online profile, your online reputation for your company, for your name, for your business. You can set up Google alerts about yourself. And so Google yourself. And I know you're going to be tempted to do it. So I'll just give you a second to go ahead and Google your name or Google your business name. When's the last time you Googled yourself or your name or your business name? I'm going to go ahead and give you the moment because every time I say don't do it, people do it anyway, and then they won't listen to me until they've got it done. So I want to understand what it is that you found on Google. Maybe it's another person with the same name. Maybe it's another business with the same name that you have. And guess what? Maybe they're in violation of trademark. I don't know. Or copyright. Who knows, right? What is it? What's something interesting that you found that when you Googled your name? Maybe it's a shocking surprise that somebody has written something nice about you. Maybe you didn't even know that there was a recommendation out there or a referral or something like that. So back a few years ago, somebody has the same name as me. And this person, so how I found out about this is I was speeding. I was probably going 35 and a 25 right down in the city of Meridian. Anyway, I get pulled over and the police officer is, "Ma'am, you need to step out of the car." And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I don't know. I don't think I was going quite 10 miles over. I think I know I was going, too fast. Anyway, so I knew I was speeding. And I was like, "I'm so sorry, I was speeding." Normally I just get I would probably just get like a warning or a ticket or something. Like, why do I have to step out of the car? Well, he steps out of the car. He proceeds to, put my hands in handcuffs and starts to tell me that, he starts to, "You're wanted for this warrant for your arrest." And I'm like, "I don't have a warrant. What are you talking about?" Well, this person with the same name has the same age, has, same hair color, similar height, all of those things. And the only thing that spared me is I don't have a tattoo on my face. I don't have tattoos all over my body, right? And so that he stopped and paused for a minute and realized and recognized he had the wrong person. And so after that, I was like, okay, so who is this person that has my name? And by the way, I did not get a speeding ticket. Thank you, Mr. Meridian police officer. After that experience, I think I, did my, fair share of never wanting to do that again. Right. Anyway, so he, obviously went off with a warning. So after that, I went and Googled my name, and sure enough, there's this person who has like warrants out and looks very similar to me, all this kind of stuff. And so now I have a Google alert set for my name. And every once in a while, it'll come up with this other person. I think she's in another area of the country. And anyway, so I have to always share that story because you never know what you're going to find, right? If other people, look this up and they think it's me, then that's something of concern, right? What can I do to combat that? How can I have other articles that say good things about me or whatever, right? Come up. So anyway, people will search online for you, and whether you're a prospective vendor or client or employee, those types of things. And Meridian Chamber has 67 5-star reviews. That's so awesome. Look at that. I love it. Yeah, so that's always good. So another piece of homework for you to do is to go out and just search online. What do you come up with? What are some things? You might find something where you've got old addresses still listed on some directory somewhere or something like that, right? What can you do to help clean up your brand online and on your online reputation? Okay, let's see. 75% of US recruiters and HR professionals have rejected candidates based on information they found online. So again, just, what's on there, what's out there. And from a business perspective, if I want to do business with somebody, or I want to hire a plumber, or I want to hire, we've got, a sprinkler system, they're going to come blow out our sprinkler systems today, right? I want to look and see, are these people trustworthy? They're going to be in our backyard. I want to make sure that they're of, I don't know, people that we can trust, right? Yeah. So and if I'm going to buy a product, I want to make sure that the product is, people have done reviews. I want to see it in action, that kind of thing. So think through that, what that looks like. Yeah. So the other thing to think about is, okay, go ahead and go next slide for me. Thank you. Okay, so in this case, just some other kind of statistics that are mind-blowing to me, but important to note. 92% of people trust recommendations from individuals, even if they don't know them, over brands. So my recommendation to somebody that I don't even know is going to carry way more weight than if I don't give that recommendation, if a brand or a logo or company gives that recommendation, right? People like to do business with people, not necessarily behind the brand. So that's why I was saying your own profile is just as important as your company profile, because people do want to do business with people. And case in point, when we post images of our staff, of our people, of people in community in action, rewards and celebrations and things that we have to do with people's faces, we get way more engagement than if we just post some pretty picture of something else that's not a person, right? So just consider how important and how relevant it is to show faces, because again, it just makes it human, right? It humanizes the messaging. It has been now delivered by someone rather than something, right? Of all recruiters, 95% believe that the job market will remain or become more competitive. If you don't stand out online, your competition will. I mean, obviously, that to me is a pretty obvious statistic that would be that way, but it's still worth saying, because now we have to do things online even more. Taking brick and mortar to click and mortar, right? Brick and mortar businesses had significantly had to change over this last year to become click and mortar, for example. And being able to continue to build your online profile, use LinkedIn more, use those different pieces that you can use more. Our podcasts, right? Jordan mentioned we're now within the top 10% most popular podcasts in the globe. Over the pandemic, this has significantly increased because of the fact that I think people have more time, or had more time, or still have time to consume things that they otherwise wouldn't. I thought, oh my gosh, our podcast isn't going to get much traction because people aren't commuting anywhere. They're just commuting from their couch to their kitchen. This isn't going to happen. But exact opposite happened. My assumption was completely wrong, because of the fact that now more people than ever are listening to podcasts, and it has been a great way to continue to build branding and build our awareness out there for people to hear what we have to say. And I do interviews of some of the most awesome authors and coaches and speakers and other industry professionals, marketing professionals, and people, all over the globe that have been on the podcast now. And it has significantly grown that way. We have our 100th episode coming up, and I just couldn't be more proud of how it's come together and do what we do. So yeah, the Marketing Expedition podcast, powered by Peppershock Media, hosted by me, Rhea Allen. So anyway, just thinking about how you can continue to get out there and be online and do things that will help you stand out from a business perspective or a personal perspective. And again, it can go both ways, right? Consistency is key. It takes 10 to 15 impressions for someone to remember a brand. Let me repeat that. It takes 10 to 15 impressions for someone to remember the brand. It might take 10 to 15 times for someone to even hear my name or see my name or see Peppershock, whatever, before they even recognize or oh, I've heard of that before. Oh yeah, how did I hear about that for? Those are the things that we're combating now. And so in order for us to be disruptive and get through the clutter, because there's so much clutter. I remember the day when it used to say, when we would say 5 to 7 times, but now it's 10 to 15 before people actually even acknowledge they've even heard of you or, seen anything that you have to do before, right? So while you're building your strategy and your plan and your foundation and things that you're doing, your goals that you're doing, what are the 10 to 15 ways that you're going to be able to get into somebody's head about you, right? If you want to get in front of them, if that's your audience and who you've dialed it in to say, these are the people I want to attract, what are you going to do 10 to 15 times in order for them to come and see you, hear you, know that you exist, right? So those are some things that you're going to do in your strategy. Okay, so go ahead and go to the next slide. As we are talking about the different types of brands and creativity types, there is a little, go ahead and I think it'll just do a little preview here. So Adobe came out with what creative type are you? There's a link to it too. If it doesn't want to play, that's totally fine. But basically it made you do all those other assessments with Myers-Briggs and DISC assessments and those types of things. Really, this will just be a test for you to see what kind of creativity type, what creative type are you? And everybody needs to be creative. Even if you are the most analytical person, you still have to get creative with numbers. You still have to get creative on those spreadsheets. The colors that you use in your pie charts matter, right? They have to be visible and legible, and people need to see your fonts and those types of things, right? All of those things matter. So the My Creativity, I'm going to have her put that link in there for me. Thank you. Thank you so much, by the way, Kirsten. This is awesome, by just, again, pivoting and making this happen. But just kind of going back to how you fit in as a person, how you fit into your team, how your culture relies on you and in your team or in your company, or how you contribute and how you show up and how people remember you when you're not there, right? What's the experience that you get, and how can you and continue to help build that and nurture that and create the essence that you want to be in your marketplace, in your workplace, wherever it is that you are in your place, right? Go ahead, next slide. So this is where I have a bunch of links for you that, some of these have already gotten shared. Thank you so much. But we've got, several different places for us to continue to connect and disrupt and inspire, right? And hoping that you can continue to help you build your brand and your bottom line. So either through the Marketing Expedition community, which is a paid subscription membership for the DIYers, the people who need to do it yourself and learn how to continue to build your brand and bottom line. There's all kinds of videos and podcasts and blog posts and tools and things that you need in there. And we continuously update it regularly. And that's the marketingexpedition.com. And you can do month 1, use the promo code month 1 to get the first month for free. And I appreciate that. Thank you again for sharing that. And then, of course, the Facebook group is free. The podcasts are free to listen to. If you want 15 minutes of time with me, I'd be happy to hear from you. And we can sit on a 15-minute Zoom call together and see if there's more to connect with and how we can help. And then if you also are ready to do a marketing audit from Peppershock, that's usually how we start with our clients, is we start off with an audit. We take a look at everything that you've done, how we can stop, start, keep, look at all of the different elements and components of your marketing for your company brand, your personal brand, everything that you've got going on. And then we come up with recommendations based on our audit. And I promise you, it's not as scary as an IRS audit. It's fun, but it's intended to really, it's facilitated, and we go through a process together that we have done and perfected over the years. So the marketing audit is there. You can also get promo percentage off, 10% off that, using Ray 10 for that. And go ahead and we'll leave this slide up for a minute while people look at that. But I also want to share with you our annual Shocktoberfest. It's our annual celebration of our work anniversary when we started in October of 2003. So this is the month. October is our favorite month. Orange is our favorite color. But we are on Friday, the 29th of October at Peppershock. We'll also have a virtual option as well. But we are having Shocktoberfest. And we've done this now. I can't remember how many years we've done it. 10 years, probably even more than 10 years. So every year it's, it's to give back to the community. We do a little silent auction for raising money for the mentoring network. So it's free to attend, but if you want to contribute to the mentoring network, they help. And especially now with the way things are, they have mentors that go into the schools and help some of the kids that need a mentor, right? And they do it in the rural areas of Canyon County and Owyhee County and throughout. So the mentoring network is something that we care about. So anyway, there's that component of it. But we'll have some we call it booze, eats, and treats, right? Boo. But we've got just a reception, open house to celebrate our 18 years in business. Peppershock's been around for 18 years. And so come celebrate with us on Friday, the 29th. Come in costume. People always come in costume. It's not mandatory. One year, one year a lawyer came and he had a sign on his shirt that said, "Due to the government shutdowns, my costume has been furloughed for the next, whatever it was." People are very clever, right? His costume was furloughed due to the government shutdown. Anyway, all kinds of amazing costumes. We usually have a costume contest. We usually say adult humans welcome, although my kids will be there so they can eat for a little bit and then they've got to go off onto their football game and that. But anyway, so Shocktoberfest, thank you for sharing again. We will, have a wonderful time at Shocktoberfest. You're all invited to come. Nampa Chamber, Meridian Chamber, Boise Chamber, everyone comes, and it's just kind of, stop in, say hello, have some eats and treats and stick around, network, and, develop and bid on a couple of auction items, and then have some fun. And think about it this way: it gives you an excuse to actually get to dress up as an adult, as in your Halloween costume, right? Because it's business, I think it's great. I love it. Okay, we can just go ahead and go open up to questions and open the next slide. And as always, just if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to get a hold of us. But let me see if there's any questions here. I see there's some private chat. But the comment section here, okay. I will keep an eye out for that as we kind of wrap up here. But meanwhile, if there's no questions, what I'd like to know is, what was your main takeaway? What is something that you are going to do as a result of having watched this? I want to hold you accountable, right? I want to know, what is it you're going to do? Sean, what are you going to do from having listened to what I had to say today?
I think we're going to go look at our LinkedIn profile a little bit more and see what we can do. Kirsten's been doing a great job with our social media platforms and reaching our members and promoting things. But I think our LinkedIn profile is definitely something that needs some work.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, getting recommendations on LinkedIn is super helpful, and giving them as well, right? And being able to continue to build your following and post more often. They have the LinkedIn stories now. There's all kinds of things, and video, and like we're doing now today, right?
Yeah, and Ray, you do such a good job of presenting, and you've helped us with several of our programs this last year online, and you're natural there behind the camera and the microphone for your podcast and the streaming event. So thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And I really hope that everyone can get connected and continue to help them build their brand and their bottom line.
Yeah. Now, remember, some people may be watching this in a little bit delayed because they got started late. Ray will continue to watch the comments. So if you are watching this program or you watch it at a later time, please enter a question in the comments field. Facebook, YouTube, I think LinkedIn may be working now as well for those comments. But Ray and her team, I'm sure, or someone from the chamber will definitely try and address those questions that you may have. And this program is available across all of our platforms. So thank you again, Ray.
Absolutely. Hey, until next time, Sean, enjoy the journey. I really appreciate it. And I'll hang out for a little bit and watch comments, and we'll go from there. Mwah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ray. Well, thank you again for joining us today, everyone. Remember, we've got a ribbon cutting later this week, and put it on your calendars to join us for our after hours event on October 21st. Thank you.